If synthetic slings are lighter, easier to handle, and just as strong, why would anyone still choose steel chain slings? We'll talk about application-specific needs, environmental hazards, safety differences, cost considerations, and whether synthetics can really do it all. My name is Ben, and this is the Lifting and Rigging channel. Today, I'm joined by Carlo, the Chain Whisperer.
I love chains.
We've seen a massive push in the industry towards synthetics. What's the case for still using chain?
Chain will never be replaced by anything. I'm not scared about the presence of polyester. On the contrary, I'm fascinated. It's just an expansion of the toolbox that the people may be using for doing a specific job. And it's a race. It has been a race always. If you go back thousands of years, what people were using to do rigging? Chains made out of iron or ropes made out of natural fibers. The weight to performance ratio of a polyester compared to the chain is incredibly high. So you have a performance in terms of strength of those yarns that is really jaw-dropping. We also work on new alloys and trying to push the envelope on what is feasible using chain, but those are two different type of tools that are using in different applications.
Can synthetics replace chain in most applications?
In some applications, there is no way the polyester can replace the chain. When you are using a rigging equipment in an environment where you may have abrasion of your rigging equipment, and then you have exposure to heat, everywhere the chemistry may compromise the integrity of your polyester, you want to use the chain.
What are some of the misconceptions that people have when they think about synthetics versus chain?
The misconception number one, I would say that you will save money. You may save some money at the beginning, but especially if you're using this setup in an environment that is exposed to fumes, it is exposed to abrasion, it is exposed to heat, you end up in replacing your roundsling way more frequently than the chain, because the chain cannot be bothered by those factors. In the long run, you may replace multiple roundslings, whereas the chain sling that you have may last a decade. And maybe the polyester may last a couple of weeks.
One of the things that people also might not consider is that chain slings are repairable. So what about temperature ranges for synthetics versus chain?
Ooh, that's a good question. You are allowed to use at the relatively cold temperatures both products. And then if you go up into exposure to a higher temperature, galvanizing, poles for the electrical poles, they're using baskets, and those rigging equipment is usually chains. Surely not polyester, because the polyester would give up.
So let's talk about rough environments. What's the life cycle like for a chain in a very rough environment versus synthetics in a rough environment?
Let's go with the mining sector. The mining sector, where you have all possible abrasive kind of material, the chain may be scratching the ground. In an offshore environment where the roughness of the environment is being exposed to salt, weather, there is an element that is also the enemy number one of polyester, which is the solar radiation. So that is also an element that should be considered. I think the chain is definitely my pick for both environments.
One of the cases for chain is
the adjustability.
Yeah,
indeed. In general, polyester does not have adjustability, and that's always been the selling argument of the chain versus the polyester. But since the polyester ventured into creating this oddly shaped equipment here, the claim is we have adjustability. Those links way bigger. It's there, but it's different.
So how do chain slings compare to synthetic slings in terms of longevity?
The chain will last long. It's also fatigue rated. And the fatigue test on the hoist chain is 2 million cycles. Components of a rigging equipment are tested for 20,000 cycles. A cycle is basically this dynamic load that you pull the product at 1.5, the WLL, over and over again. It's the requirement of the standard. It's just a question of where are you using your product? Because then you understand it's not a race of using this versus this. It's understanding where you should be using this and where you should be using this.
At the end of the day, new synthetic technologies are amazing, but they're not the answer for every job. If you're unsure when to use chain versus synthetics, reach out. Our team can walk you through the right option for your specific lift. Gazelle is here to help you with all of your lifting needs, be that slings, rigging, cranes, inspections, training, or service. Feel free to contact us through the link below. If you found this video useful, informative, entertaining, or you just feel like being friendly, then hit that like button so we can get this information out to everyone who needs it. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. If you have a question, drop it in the comments and we'll get you an answer. Remember, safe rigging is smart rigging. My name is Ben. Stay safe out there.